All right, so this is the first of, I think it's going to be a three-part series on Facebook and Instagram ads. And I guess just raise your hand if you've ever done Facebook ads before or Instagram ads. Benjamin, anyone else? Okay. All right, so at least one person has done Facebook ads before. So this will be new territory for most people. It's very exciting. We're going to just talk about the goals of this series. We don't meet every week, but we meet usually about 3 weeks a month, looking at different topics related to outreach. And so our goal for these webinars is to equip you with proven methods of outreach you can use to bring the work of your local church before the people of your community. And we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. These are all things that are recommended by the official church planting manual of the Orthodox Presbyterian Church. So these are, the technologies keep changing, and so there's some of the specifics change, but these are proven methods that have been effective for a long time. So the first one is advertising. So obviously today's topic is very much about advertising, specifically using Facebook and Instagram. Publishing newsletters, we talked about that last month in September. And next month, our plan is to talk about some of the logistics, particularly of promoting special events and follow-up. And then the fourth one is distributing sermons and teaching. So these are the things that we go through in these webinars. And if you have not been to these before, or you haven't gotten to all of them, then you definitely want to join the church outreach group. So I'll put a link to that in the chat. I think most of you are already in there, but it's just school.com/church outreach group. Bring that up on the screen. So looks something like this. We've had some lively discussion. Well, I wouldn't say particularly lively, but we have gotten more discussion. And currently, Brian's at the leaderboard there. So thank you, Brian. And then we have a classroom with recordings of previous webinar series we've done, email newsletters, local SEO, and sermon publishing. So definitely join the church outreach group if you haven't already. This is becoming more and more exciting and valuable every week. I also want to mention the official debut of the church outreach incubator. So we now have a page on our 5 More Talents website all about this. So this is a program that you can apply to that is designed for, we can only offer it to a limited number of churches. So kind of the maximum I think we could offer this to in 2025 would be probably six churches. But basically what it is if the answer to any of the following 2 questions is yes, then it's probably worth taking a serious look at the church outreach incubator. So if there's not as many young people in your congregation, if your church attendance is declining, if your church is hard to find when people search for church near me, then this could be the missing puzzle piece. And basically how it works is it's a 12 to 15 month program, and it provides you with a strong jump start to your outreach ministry. So phase one, you can see here, lasts for 3 to 6 months, and that's where the Five More Talents team builds you a customized outreach system, which includes online advertising, local SEO, email newsletters, and search optimized sermon publishing. It can also include text messaging as well for follow-up. Phase two is focused on training. So this is where you learn, and we provide training to use the outreach system. And then phase three is coaching, so that we can then fade out of our role at Five More Talents, and then you can run that, use that outreach system in your outreach ministry without our involvement week to week, month to month. So if that sounds interesting to you, there is an application process. Like I said, you can really only take on 4 to 6 of these projects in 2025, but it is something we've been developing for many years, and we're excited to finally be able to offer it officially. So you can see there's some questions here. Say one of the key things is that you need to have some people in your church that have a little bit of extra time to learn some new skills and help with outreach. And then this is something that does require a significant financial investment as well. But there are churches in particular seasons where we believe that this makes sense, and it can be helpful, kind of paired with a church revitalization program, such as like Lampstand does, or something like that. So definitely go to fivemoretalents.com/outreach to learn more. That sounds like something you're interested in. Most of your churches should be getting a flyer in the mail, if you haven't already, that also talks about some of the different options. All right, so let's dive in here. So why this topic? Why Facebook and Instagram ads? And as I go, if anybody has any questions, just go ahead and put them in the chat, and then at various points I will stop and try to answer those. So just a couple of things here. The main alternative to Facebook ads is Google ads. And at some point, I do think we will do a webinar series on Google ads as well. As you can see here, Google ads are, when it's talking about user intent, it's really only useful, or it's most useful, when people are already searching for example, for church near me. All right. So, and a lot of people are searching for a church near me. As I've shared before, the number of people searching for church near me has gone up like 3 or 4 times what it was in 2020. So we are going to do a webinar series on Google ads at some point, because a lot more people are searching online for a church near them than there were even 4 or 5 years ago. But the strength of Facebook and Instagram ads is that you don't have to, people don't have to be searching for something in particular in order for them to see your ad. So it's basically just a way to get people to see the ad just while they're looking at Facebook or looking at Instagram. And in the example we'll do today, this is talking about preferences, characteristics, and interests. And geographic location is another one. The example we're going to do today is just going to be defining an ad audience based off of the geographic location of the users. But it's a way that you can build awareness of your church while people are, looking at whatever it is they're looking at on Facebook, and they're in they're in your local area. The latest cute videos of dogs and cats, or whatever it is that they're looking, whatever it is they're looking at on Facebook. Your ad for your church can show up in their feed, in their stream, while they're looking at other things, and they weren't even necessarily thinking about a church near them. You can get on their radar. So that's a big reason why Facebook and Instagram ads can be very, very powerful for churches. The second thing I'll mention is that I purposefully called this series of webinars Facebook and Instagram, because there are notable generational differences in which age groups use what platforms. So Facebook is by far the most popular among the 35 and up crowd, right? 93%. So if you're wanting to reach people in the 35 and up crowd, which I'm one of those people. I remember when I was in college, Facebook came out. So you definitely want to be on Facebook. But if you're wanting to reach younger people, especially Gen Z and millennials, Instagram really needs to be in the mix. So that's why that's going to be part of our focus over the next few weeks. Now you might be wondering, what is ByteDance? ByteDance is the company that owns TikTok. So really, though, what this is saying for Gen Z is that the most popular social network for Gen Z is TikTok. So I think someday, before we're done, we're going to have to do something on TikTok, but I'm going to have to learn a whole lot more about it before I get to that point. All right. Any questions on that so far? Hope I built a case for why Facebook and Instagram ads can be beneficial. All right. So in order to run ads, basically, there's actually multiple different ways you can create an ad on Facebook, which is really not surprising if you think about it, because like most of the other big digital companies, they're basically advertising companies. So it makes sense that they would provide multiple different ways for you to create an ad. But the simplest way for you to get started in running ads is to create a Facebook page. Make sure you have a Facebook page. So I would imagine that probably, most of the churches that I see already have a Facebook page, but I do just want to point you in the right direction. If your church does not have a Facebook page yet, here's what you need to do. And by the way, these, as always, what I'm going to show you also have how-to guides to go with them. I'll put that in the chat. The how-to guides look like this, and you can click on a different step, and then you can sort of scroll through, and it'll walk you step by step through the different parts of the process. All right. So basically, to create a Facebook page, you click on this menu, the grid of 9 squares, and then you just click on page. All right, and then it's going to walk you through some questions. right? There's a lot of optional things that I mean, the more detailed you can make it, the better. But just for the sake of time, I'm just gonna keep it very simple. All right, so it's going to ask you for lots of details. The more details you provide, the higher the page health. I imagine that probably factors into when people are searching for pages. If there's a page that has fair health versus excellent health, the pages with excellent health will show up toward the top. So you want to add a profile picture and a cover photo. WhatsApp is very popular, I think, internationally. So I don't know. Curious if anybody has any experience with that, which you could chime in. And then you can invite friends. And that's basically it. So then you click done. And now you have a page. Now, one of the things that's really important to note is that once you have created a page, there's actually in the top right, there's this account bubble that you can click on. And so you can actually select, you know, which of these different identities that you want to have when you're on Facebook. Okay, so that's a very important point, because the things that we was talking about with advertising, if you're not aware that this thing in the top right exists, you're not going to get very far. You need to know about this bubble in the top right, because it lets you select the different in this case, the different pages and the different identities that you might want to represent. All right, so now we're going to get to the fun part, creating an ad from your Facebook page. All right, so let's click on so Trinity Reformed Church volunteered to be I'm not sure what the right word, a guinea pig for this. The example, I guess that's the word I'm looking for. All right, so you can see here, once Facebook provides lots of different ways: Ad Center, create ads, advertise, right? They want you to advertise. They want you to spend money on ads. So there's even a big blue button here that says advertise. So if you've never advertised before, when you click advertise, by the way, there's one more thing too. There's actually this thing that says boost post. So that's another way to advertise. That's probably like the easiest one. If you just click boost post, it will basically just use that post. You can create an ad from that. I'm going to show you basically how to create an ad that is not a boosted post. So if you've never run an ad before and you click advertise, you're probably going to see something like this. Right, I'm just going to give you some options, and I'm going to click create a new ad. All right, and Meta, the company that owns Facebook, basically along with all of the different online advertising platforms, they have lots of policies. And it's actually very common when you're running ads that at some point you're going to run up against some kind of policy, not necessarily the non-discrimination policy, but there's all kinds of policies. I'm just going to click I accept. But anyway, it's just something to keep in mind. So we do this, you'll see at the end, it says the ad goes into review. All right, you also need to provide a phone number And let's see if there's any other showstoppers. Of course, you need to provide a payment method. All right. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to another Facebook account where I already have all this stuff set up and just show you the process of actually creating an ad. I'm going to stop sharing momentarily.
Daniel,
And yes.
interrupt a little bit. So Megan had a question. She said, are there benefits to boosting a post over creating an ad or vice versa?
Yeah, so next, I mean, that's a good question. It, there's pros and cons either way. I'm not going to give a non-answer. I would say, what I'm going to advocate for in these webinars is the concept of A/B testing. So you should always be running 2 ads that are maybe intended to accomplish the same goal, but they have something different about them. You let them run for at least a week, and then you compare the stats on them, and then you kind of pick the one that is getting, the results that are more in line with what you're looking for. So that is my approach to answering that question, is to always run a couple of different, always be running at least 2 ads side by side, again, designed to accomplish the same goal. And then just make that decision based off of the results that you're getting. So I would say one benefit, though, of just choosing a boosted post is that you can just go ahead and you don't have to decide, like, what am I going to say? You can just, if you boost a post, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen again. All right, here we go. All right, we're going to click advertise. I'll click create new ad. All right, and if you're like me and you've run lots of different Facebook ads before in different contexts, like I've run ads for churches and for businesses and for nonprofits. I actually have multiple ad accounts. So you might find yourself in this boat where there's this thing in the top right where it wants you to make sure you have the right ad account, which the key thing there is that's a place where it stores your payment info. So I learned the hard way in preparing for this webinar. If you don't choose this first and you have to choose at the end, it basically erases all the work that you've done on your ad. So word to the wise. So you could just stick with, there's a lot of things here that are like automatic, and you could choose to do that if you want, but I'm just going to say, just give you a recommended recipe I think would be good for most churches just trying to build awareness of their church. So you can select promote your business locally as the goal. And then you want to put in the description. I do recommend when you're spending money on ads, you want to think about what action that you want people to take. So this ad is going to be all oriented around and just inviting people to worship on Sunday morning. All right, then this is the fun part. You get to pick what you want to be in the ad. So in this case, I set up an ad earlier today that will, maybe we'll probably won't get to look at that until next week, but it was just a single video. So in this one, I am going to do a carousel with an image and a few different videos. Let's see what this looks like. Like there was one. There we go. That's what I was looking for. There's videos with 3 different speakers in it. All right, and then you can see it'll start to show you a preview. Now you might be feeling that this is a little bit of a bait and switch, because I did talk about Instagram ads, and you might be wondering, hey, like when are we going to get to Instagram? Well, actually, when you're doing this, I don't know if it's going to show you here. Maybe I need to eat my words here. Basically, we'll talk more about that in future weeks, definitely. But basically, Facebook makes it very easy when you're running an ad to basically have those ads display on Instagram as well as Facebook, because Instagram and Facebook are both owned by the same company. You can have the ads show on both places. All right, so we've selected some images. We give a headline which displays I think it displays below the image. And we're going to change the button to learn more. And we're going to put in the church website. Okay, and then you have some, here's the first of the options where it's kind of you give Facebook some creative liberty with what exactly it shows. And in general, I think these things are a good idea. I'm going to leave it on in this case, because one of the things that the Facebook advertising engine does is it will analyze using machine learning, okay, which of these different variations seems to be most effective in actually getting people to click learn more, and it will, as it learns which of the variations tend to be most effective to get people to to click learn more, then it will show more of those. All right, this is not a special ad category. And we are going to hear this. So this section is the audience targeting. So we're just going to do a geographic targeting. And we're actually going to just basically cast a wide net. Literally, you just have to be someone who's on Facebook within a 5-mile radius of the church building. Now, there are more detailed targeting. I don't recommend getting into these if it's your first ad. I don't even necessarily think there's a whole lot that is super helpful to churches, but there are some targeting options here. So, like for example, you could you could target people who are interested in family, fatherhood, friendship, marriage, motherhood, parenting, weddings, right? So that was the one that stood out to me today, is that you might want to do something like that, but we're not going to do that. I don't really recommend it if you're just getting started. Okay, and then here is just this is basically, this ad is just going to keep running until I stop it, or you can select it'll run for 7 days or 14 days or whatever. Makes sense that they would have this as the default because they're trying to make money from ads. All right, and then you need to have a budget of at least $1. So in this case, like I said earlier today, I set up an ad that was basically the same, except it just had 1 video instead of a photo and 3 videos. And so that's going to be our A/B test. It'll be interesting to see next week how those two ads are doing and which one is more effective in making people want to click the Learn More button. All right, and then we have placements. So you can see here, it says, let us maximize your budget across Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, and Meta Audience Network. All right, so basically what this is saying is if you leave this checked, your ad is going to show on Instagram as well as on Facebook. I'm gonna deactivate the metapixel because that's a whole nother setup. That'll probably be something we get to in a couple weeks. But that's what this is. Metapixel is something that can be installed on your website that tracks what people do on your website after clicking on the ad. And then that can be used to build audience, for example, build an audience of people who have visited your website. And then you can show them a different ad that maybe relates to something that they already saw on your website. All right, and then I think that's everything. Yep, I'll click publish. All right, Ron, that's a good question. How many impressions does 250 give? It's going to vary based on yeah, let me come back to that in just a second, Ron. All right, so your ad typically will not start running right away. So here you're saying your ad is being created and they're going to review it according to Meta advertising standards. These are constantly changing. Like I said, it is actually very common for an ad to be rejected. So I don't really know, what are kind of the latest things that are in the Facebook policies. But like, for example, at one time, there was a policy about how much text you could have in an image. If you had a photo on your ad, but it had too much text in it, then Facebook would reject it. So there's things like that. But then there's an appeals process. So, all right, let's click this button and see what's there next. Okay, so you can see this other one that I started before this webinar. That one's actually already active. So that one did not take 24 hours to review and it was not rejected. We can actually take a look at it. And I'm going to try to answer Ron's great question. Yeah, you can see once it's started running, you get this kind of information on it. You can see where it's showing up, and then you can see the locations. All right. All right. So that is that is how you create an ad. So let me try to answer Ron's first question here. How many impressions does a $2.50 a day budget yield? So to answer that question, let's go back to, we're gonna pretend we're gonna start yet a third ad, and we'll take a closer look at that. All right. So we're going to change the button to, what was it? Learn more? Learn more. Okay. Oh, we got to change this to be promote your business locally. Okay, so now we have Okay, there's a few different things to look at here. So, it gives you an estimated audience size based off of the radius. So in this case, a 5-mile radius around the church is about 250,000. A 2-mile radius would be about 65 or 70,000. And then you can see here the estimated account center accounts reached. So I guess they're kind of not saying people reached, because maybe some people might have more than one account or something like that. So basically, probably at least 900, based off of this budget, about 900 different accounts are likely to see this ad in their feed. So, all right. So let me get to Ron's second question. Since we do not agree with the concept of gender identity, how is it possible to accept an ad from any Reformed church? So it's you'd have to look at their policies and see what they define. It certainly is possible that in this day and age that a Bible believing church could post a specific ad with a specific message that Facebook would define as unacceptable content. But I think it's more based off of the message in the ad rather than the advertiser per se. All right, and then Chris, great question. Is it possible to see the ad as others on Facebook might see it? It's a really good question. Let me see if I can answer that for you. So if we go to, let's see if we can get out of this. All right, so here you can see now there's Ads Manager. Let's see what this has here. Okay. All right, so now you can see we have these two ads. And let's see. There we go. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so here's a way to preview what the ad looks like. We're going to look more at this more detailed interface probably next week. So it's trying to load more previews, but basically, yeah, that's what this shows you, is just lots of different configurations of what the ad looks like. So the answer to the question is yes. This is the tool that you would use to see what it looks like. All right. Let me get out of that. We're going to look at the last item for today. Advocate for a team approach to basically doing any of these things, whether you're managing your Facebook page, managing your website, running ads. So it's crucial to know how to manage the users that have access to the page. So to do this, I'm just going to use this example to point you in the right direction. And then I'm going to point you to the scribe guide where you can see how the finished project looks. But let's just pretend that you're a Trinity Reformed Church. You want to click on Settings. and then page setup, and then page access. All right. So let me show you the scribe guide. Scribe guide gives more of a complete glimpse at the process. So first you have to make sure that you have your correct account selected in the top right, like we have here. And you go to that page access screen. All right, and then you can click add new. And then you can search for the name of the person. And I think it's a good idea to, for your account to be a Facebook friend, probably a good idea anyway. It's going to make it easier when you do the search for that person's name to show up at the top of the list. So like, for example, I discovered that I don't consider my name, Daniel Voss, to be particularly common, but I discovered there are hundreds of people around the world named Daniel Voss, apparently. So, and then you just click give access. All right, so that's how you do that. All right, well, that's what all we have for today. What questions do y'all have? Feel free to unmute yourself or to use the chat. All right. I'm assuming there's no questions, but feel free to jump in if you think of something. Oh, there's something. Yes, thank you for the thank yous. All right, so the next webinar, we are going to check in and see how our 2 ads are doing. And we're gonna, that's gonna be an opportunity for us to kind of interpret what are the different statistics that are collected and what do they mean. And then we're going to use that ads manager interface to create an A/B test. So there's actually a specific tool that Facebook provides to basically create an ad with 2 variations. So it's a little bit of a more scientific way to do that. We have lots of good questions coming in here now. Are there ways to do more specific advertising on Instagram or only on Instagram? That is a great question. I wish I knew the exact answer to that. I imagine that there is. I'm going to just copy this question and put it on my list. And it's going to be part of what I prepare for future weeks. That's a really good question. Pretty sure there is. Is it possible to create a video specifically for an ad? And if so, are there limitations? So the answer is yes, it is possible to create a video specifically for an ad. And limitations, I mean, basically the only limitation is that it needs to conform to Meta's policies. So but at the end of the day, they are an advertising company. That is their main revenue stream. So I'm not here to claim Facebook has like no politicization, but size limitations. Okay, we're talking about size limitations. There are. I'm not really sure. I mean, I would say if, like, for example, if you do a video, just like you record it with your iPhone, it's probably going to be fine, right? So, yeah. I will have to research that more specifically because it's been It's been several months since I've run a Facebook video ad. So, all right, good questions. All right, so coming up, we're going to continue learning more about Facebook and Instagram ads. In November, we're planning to focus on promoting events. We do have, if any of you are familiar with the evangelistic Bible study curriculum, Christianity Explored, we're actually planning to have a representative of Christianity Explored join the webinar on November 14. That's penciled in, so we'll talk more about that in future weeks. And then I also want to highlight in January, there's the Lampstand Conference. So 5 More Talents is going to have a booth there at Lampstand at Briarwood PCA in January. So I see what Lampstand is doing with church revitalization and church planting, and I think acceleration is the other thing they call it. I see that, you know, what we're seeking to do at 5 More Talents is very complementary with what Lampstand is doing. Lampstand focusing more on the spiritual dynamics of church vitality, and we're providing some practical tools that churches can use as they seek to develop robust ministries of outreach. So maybe you've never heard of Lampstand before. Definitely encourage you to check it out if you haven't. And the way you can find it is just by going to briarwood.org and I guess do a search for Lampstand or click on their, how did I get here? Outreach, I guess. It's here somewhere. Do a search for Lampstand and you can find out about it. All right. That is all what we have for today. Thank you all for coming and look forward to seeing you next week. All right, have a great day.
Thank you.
Yep.